At the John Daly Major Ed Foundation, we also focus on making sure that we partner up with great organizations. Great organizations like St. Jude's, great organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, our friends at Warriors for Freedom, our friends at Force 50 Foundation, which provides veterans the health care that they need. As you can see, we are the safety net at the John Daly Major Ed Foundation to make sure that no one gets left behind on the field of battle and that you're taken care of in the home front. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. Hoorah!
Golf gloves have been around for over a century, but they never seem to stand the test of time. It's time to stop playing short-lived, frail, crusty leather gloves and start playing with game-changing Claw golf gloves. Exclusive silicone palm provides consistent grip that never blackens, hardens, or tears. Breathable mesh promotes outstanding airflow, keeping hands cool and sweat-free. Add in being machine washable, the Claw delivers more rounds than typical stale old leather gloves. Golfers, it's time to expect more from your golf glove.
You heard me talk about Squares golf shoes and how they help you hit the golf ball further. And many of you are saying, oh, come on, Faldo, give us a break. How is that possible? But yes, they do. And it's proven with science.
What we noticed with the Square shoes was the shoe keeps the pressure in a more stable fashion towards inside of the trail heel, allowing pressure to get to the lead side, generating much more club and speed and distance gain.
Visit squares.com. Change your shoes, change your game. Squares, the distance golf shoe.
And this segment is sponsored by the Distance Shoe, Squares Shoes, Proof, Not Promise, Bill the Golffather Cuevas, and also just to let you know, for a limited time only,
limited,
have a redneck shoe that was produced by John Daly himself. Yes. And that is available for a limited time. There's only a limited amount of shoes that's available. And you can find that at squares.com, SQAIR.com. And Bill the Golf with us, and Squares shoes can definitely help you perform better with those Edison wedges.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not even going to say. I can't agree with you. I can't tell you that because then I blow my hand. I can't do that. I got to keep that for later on. We just started this segment. I can't talk about that. We gotta do things in chronological order. So let's get Terry back on so we could start talking about the wedge fitting and everything else.
The process, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Let's welcome back Terry Kaylor. He is here on Big's Golf Talk. He was just talking about the history and how he was, got into Ben Hogan and all that stuff, and how Edison Wedges got started and what the history and story was behind naming Edison Golf and all that stuff, and it's all about bold ideas. As a matter of fact, Bill the Golffather Cuevas.
Phrase of the week.
I didn't hear it. What did it say?
Phrase of the week.
Are we gonna make it Edison Wedges?
I was thinking about bold ideas.
Bold. Okay, I can live with that. Let's
bold
go.
Ideas.
Bold ideas. You got to be in it to win it. And we got something new that we're going to announce later on. What's for the month? What month are we in right now? I know we're in May.
It's for the month of June. Yes.
That's right. So we got something big. It's going to help you
give away for the month of June. So, and later on, we'll announce the winner. I know we haven't announced the winner for the Encore Golf Balls, logo golf balls, Big's Golf Talk logo golf balls. And, we'll give those away, and we do have a winner for that. We'll announce that a little bit later on.
And then we'll announce the next one. But phrase of the week is bold ideas.
Yes.
I got a bold idea. Jinx. Jinx. Go ahead. No, you go first.
I think we can go back to Terry, turn this over back to Terry, and talk about the process of how one gets an Edison golf wedge. Terry, welcome back to Big's Golf Talk.
Hey, thank you, guys. Look forward to talking some more, sharing my story and what we're doing and why.
There you go.
So, Terry, what's the first thing they do once they go to Edison Golf and they want to get fit? It's a regular, average Joe goes over there, sets up. what's the first thing they're going to look at and do?
Well, I think, surf around our site and you're going to see why we do what we do, how we do what we do, and why these wedges are so different from the Tour Design wedges, categorically, that covers basically every other wedge in the market, and why we're different. And then we really encourage people to take our wedge fit scoring range analysis. And this is a process that's evolved over 20 years. I've been doing these kind of profiles on golfers. I've reviewed over 60,000 of these fitting profiles. So I feel like I have a pretty dang good handle on what the recreational golfer is looking for out of their wedges that they're not getting. There's some really good wedge designers out there, that work with the tour players, and these guys are just insane how good they are and what they can, what they can get out of a golf club. But 98% of golfers are not trying to play a tour blade iron. 98% of golfers are not carrying 3 irons and 4 irons anymore, and yet they're trying to play tour wedges. And my robotic testing research, live golfer research indicates that your tour design wedges, regardless of brand, they're the most finicky, unforgiving golf clubs in your bag in the most important scoring zone where you really need to get the most out of your game. And so, my whole process was taking these wedge fit analysis and looking at what are golfers telling me. 80% of golfers, regardless of handicap, were saying, I hit my wedges too high. My distance control stinks. I don't get the spin that I'd like. I'm confused about bounce and grinds and all that stuff. And I said, gosh darn, these are problems I can fix by changing the way the golf club is configured. And, maybe a tour player might not like my wedge at all because, she, these are magical talents. They are so knowledgeable and skilled and trained with thousands and thousands of shots to know exactly how to hit a wedge shot 45 feet, 7 different ways. I mean, we watch them every week. They're magical what they do. They hit a bump and a run this time, little flop shot next time. This wedge shot releases to the pin. This wedge shot sucks back to the pin. Recreational golfers do not have these skills. So, so let me build a wedge for the recreational golfer who, hey, I hit it a little on the toe sometime. I hit it a little high in the face sometime. I hit it a little low in the face sometime. My goal was, I want you to get away with that. I mean, I can't cure, neither can any other golf club company, cure the skull or the chunk or that. Those are skill problems. But if you make contact somewhere around the middle part of the face, I can give you better performance shot after shot after shot. That's what drove me. That's what drives oversized metal woods. That's what drives hybrids. If you whiff the ball, it doesn't matter whether you're swinging a 1 iron or a hybrid. It's not going to work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, amateur golfers have chased forgiveness every place in the bag. Big drivers, hybrids, fairway woods, these, big spaceship mallet putters, cavity back irons. And then they're going to find the same wedge that tour players play in. And it's like, why'd you quit chasing forgiveness in the most important part of the game? And what the reason is, because there's no options out there. I mean, brand A, brand B, brand C, brand D, these wedges are all interchangeable. They're a molded piece of metal with all the weight on the bottom. They're going to all perform pretty much the same way. And my robotic testing that I've been doing for over 20 years shows me that the performance changes from brand A, B, and C have not been relevant for 20 years. They're producing the same golf club over and over and over with different graphics. And, I can be respectfully irreverent of these companies, but they're serving the master they have, which is their tour staff. My master, the guy that's going to actually buy his wedges, is not going to go have them personally ground, which is another whole topic. But, that guy's looking for that guy, that girl, whether they're 75 or 15, whether they're 6'2" or, 4'2", they're looking for a way to get away with their slight misses. Absolutely. And so what drives me is, how can I make your average wedge shot better? Your best wedge shot, it doesn't matter what wedge you play if you hit it perfect every time, but how can I make your average wedge shot better? And that's what drives me.
Well, the first start for our fans out there of the wedge is to go to your site. That's the start. And I know you might have scared people when you say, premium wedges at a premium price. You're really not that much more than those wedges that are mass produced, and they're made and geared for the tours, and they give you, here you go, you go online, you pick a wedge, you pick your bounce, you pick this, you pick that, you do all the work, and you know what we do, right? We're the best golfers in the world. Even when it comes to filling out forms, we're the best. even though we're not. But we're the best at filling out these forms and lying to ourselves, because that's what we do. We don't want people to know that we're really as bad as we are. But yours is really simple. You get your name, male, female, age range, where do you live? Because that's a huge thing. Florida conditions vary, so that's what I put, when they ask what kind of conditions. One day it's muddy, one day it's hard, one day it's soft. You never know what you're going to get into. So that
New Mexico, it's hard and it's desert.
Yeah.
And
desert,
also the altitude makes a difference too.
Exactly. So for people that travel a lot and stuff like that, it makes it difficult, because we got to travel and we get to do a lot of stuff all around the country. But it's simple. How far do you hit your 9? What's your 9 loft? What's your pitching wedge loft? What material? You playing a steel wedge? You were using graphite? What's your shaft flex? What brand do you currently use? What's your highest lofted wedge? How long have you been playing them? What's the carry on your 9? Full swing wedges, trajectory. Do you hit it too high, too low? I don't know if, honestly, I think that's one of the misconceptions for people. They really think that they hit the ball really high, and a lot of them don't. Because if you talk to them out, I hit that ball really high, and you look at it and I'm like, yeah, I didn't think you hit that really that high. I hit the ball when, I never hit a 60 degree, 120 yards unless I'm in a bunker. So that's usually when I'm going to hit it the farthest that I can hit it. But, we had a conversation after I filled this thing out, and it's not just me, it's other people. They get to have a conversation as well once you fill it out on what's your best option for a wedge and how they can fit it. It has a little recommendation from you guys. Everything's really personalized and in touch. And for the service that you got, the process that you have, your wedge is a steal. To be honest, at its price point, what it is, to get what you have and what you're doing. One of the biggest questions I asked you.
And let me just clarify. You talk about the price is a steal, not the wedge itself.
Yes, absolutely. The only thing I'm
stealing. Clarify that, because you were talking about the wedge and then you said steal.
Well, so money. Yeah, money is the price wise is a steal.
Sorry, excuse him. He's from the Bronx, Terry. His Spanglish is a little.
He won't let me get away for it. Yeah, I grew up in the Bronx. I didn't steal nothing.
Well, one thing, being from Texas, we laugh at other people's accents because we don't have any, right?
Yeah, you have no accent. I don't have an accent either.
To your point, Bill, the more we know about your scoring range performance, how far you're hitting your 9 and your pitch, that helps us start with your gapping. What kind of irons you're playing. You're playing a tour blade iron or a super game improvement iron. That helps us have insight. But, you touched on the thing about the turf conditions, and I've long been a critic of this notion of fitting bounce, because the concept of fitting bounce is what kind of turf do you play and what kind of divot do you take? Well, we're talking to amateur golfers who nobody knows what their next wedge lie is going to look like. It could be on the hard pan by the cart path. It could be in fluffy rough. So how can I fit to that when I don't even know what it's going to be? And secondly, and I would look at it, both of you, all your own games, whether you're a 5 handicap or a 25, you can't tell me for sure whether your next shot's going to be a big divot or just a nice clip of the grass, because you're an amateur golfer. If you're a professional golfer, you're going to hit it a bunch of different ways. If you're a skilled amateur of low single digit, you may know how to hit wedges 3 or 4 different ways. Sometimes you nip it right off the grass, and sometimes you take a beaver pelt because you're trying to do different things. So if I'm going to fit bounce, you need to make sure you're going to have the exact same lie every shot. And if I'm going to fit bounce, you need to make sure you make the exact same swing every shot. Well, that's not realistic for recreational golfers. So I created this sole, which was kind of my entry into the wedge category, was creating this sole that I put, I don't know if you can see this, but I put a real high bounce on the leading edge and a shallow bounce, a very light bounce on the trailing edge. So this wedge is going to be very versatile. If the conditions call for a high bounce, it's going to act like that. If the conditions call for a low bounce, it's going to act like that. Let's go fit the real part. I mean, these companies talk about here's 6 different bounce options, but everybody needs the same shaft. Well, that's garbage. That's not true. The shaft is the engine of the golf club. And we offer 5 different shafts from KBS, 2 steel, 3 graphite, and we build on any other shaft in the marketplace. And we don't charge extra except for the cost of that shaft to do it, because we're not going to go take a wedge apart. We're going to build your wedges from scratch anyway. So, you know, I'm a big believer. Let's get the angles right. Let's get the length right. Let's get the shaft right. And let me give you a sole that'll work pretty much anywhere, you know, anywhere you happen to be. I mean, you can see this sole, if I can get the angle right, you can see there's a steep bounce in the front and a shallow bounce in the back. But you know, that was kind of my first foray. I've been working this sole design now for almost 30 years, and each iteration I come up with, it gets better and better because I learn more and more. I'm never satisfied with what I'm doing. But the big difference in the Edison wedge is the way we distribute the weight. So there's so much more mass up here in the golf club above the point of impact. So if you look at most wedges, you know, all the weight is along the sole and they're very thin up here. But when I hit the ball here, there's nothing behind that impact. Whereas when you hit the ball up here, you know, I've got 40% of the club head weight still above that point of impact. Range trajectories down, more penetrating, which 80% of golfers said they hit their wedges too high, and they just balloon them up in the air and they don't know how far they're going to go. And, you know, in wedge play, you're going to hit your pulls, you're going to hit your pushes, but distance control is what wedge play is all about. And your odds are, if you can get the distance right, you're going to have pretty good birdie putts, pretty good par putts, you know, bogey putts, whatever you're trying to save there. And so I'm all about trying to equalize the smash factor around the face of the wedge. So a shot hit low, a shot hit in the middle, a shot hit high, shot hit out toward the toe. This wedge delivers the most consistent smash factor of any wedge on the market. And because I designed it to do that. I mean, that's just that simple. I march to the beat of a different drummer and I serve a different master. I'm trying to help that 8, 10, 15, 20 handicapper hit wedge shots closer to the hole.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
I was actually going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up about the 25% more mass at the top of the wedge that Edison Golf has that I haven't seen any other wedge, you know, creator have it, you know, and he has a really good illustration compared to 2 other wedges. I went the Edison wedge, and it's all on the website under the technology tab. But let's talk about now. We have a few more minutes here. Talk about now. They have now submitted. You've talked to them. Turnover rate. What's the turnover rate from the time they get fit and you talk to them, and now you have all the information you need? What's the turnover rate before they get their wedges?
So if on a stock wedge that we're going to build with our own components, you know, we use KBS steel, KBS graphite shafts, lambkin crossline grips, regular and mid-size. If they're working off of our stock components, everything goes out the door inside of 5 working days. You know, and usually 2 to 3. If the customer needs custom grips, custom shaft, well, we have to wait to get those in because we'll order those. And that usually adds a week to the process. But even a super custom club with special order shaft, special order grip, it's pretty rare it's not going to go out within 10 to 12 working days. We're very proud of that. And 80 to 85% of our orders go out within 3 working days.
That's a pretty good turnaround, especially when you're custom making it. It's not mass produced. It's not like you just put it in a box and ship it out. You're doing everything. And you see, you got the options if people want to do it within 4-degree gapping or 5-degree, which is good. I think the biggest thing that stuck out for me during our conversation was so many people get caught up in the grind aspect of it. And I know even as we talk about it, it was still hard to believe. So while I got my clubs, you know, I played in New Mexico with them, and the conditions there are totally different than here in Florida. So that's one less thing to worry about. You were hitting them high and sweet, and I was nailing them. I mean, I really was. I was shooting darts, you know. So it's a big difference. You know, I honestly, I think my dispersion was tighter. My dispersion was a lot tighter. It wasn't, you know, one shot, you know, 15 yards, the other one 3 yards. It wasn't left. It was right. I was pretty much on point. I almost impressed myself. You know what I mean? I was like, wait a minute. And then I had one of the other guys tell me, he's like, you're shooting really well today. You said you haven't golfed in a while. And I was like, yeah, I guess it must be the wedges. It wasn't really me. I wasn't really doing anything different. But what I could tell you honestly, 100%, my divots changed. They were very, very minimal. They were very, very clean. I went right through the turf. I went right through the sand. Anything I was at, it was just going through. I wasn't digging. I wasn't leaving the club behind. There was no, how you say, I mean, where you feel like you get stuck in the middle of your shot and you're like, oh my God, and you got to clinch up to get it through. It was none of that. It was just hit and take off. So it was a big difference. And as my confidence built, my shots got better. You know, I did have one problem though, sir. I hit the ball farther because I was hitting it right.
Yeah. Well,
That was
these
one
wedges
problem.
are a little longer than wedges of the same loft. And, you know, because of that, we make all of our wedges. The whole industry makes wedges in even numbers, you know, 48, 50, 52, 54. And without getting a long story, that comes back from when pitching wedges were 48 degrees. And so 52, 56, 60 became the standard. Well, now pitching wedges, or P clubs as I call them, are 43, 42, 45 degrees. But we make odd numbered lofts from 45 to 63 degrees. You know, if somebody just needs a 50 or a 54, we're going to take that lower number. We're going to tweak it 1 degree, which doesn't compromise the bounce at all. So, you know, we'll build any loft matrix you want. And one of the things we do, you know, we talk about value and the price of our golf clubs. We developed with our foundry a durable chrome finish that's about 2.5 times thicker than anybody else's chrome, understanding that chrome is an extremely thin but very hard surface protectant. But I've got wedges in my bag that were the first production models we got in the fall of 2019 that I have not worn through the chrome yet. I play 100, 150 rounds a year and hit probably 1,000 wedge shots a week. So, you know, this durable chrome is the real deal. It keeps your groove integrity. It keeps the face integrity. I don't know how long it's going to take to wear them out, but, you know, I just keep hitting them. But what's also interesting about this, you know, people have a misunderstanding about the importance of grooves. Grooves are like the tire tread on your car. They are there to channel away grass and moisture and debris so that you can get more ball on the face of the club. I mean, if you think about you know, Formula One racing, you know, they run completely slick tires on a dry track so they can get maximum adhesion to the track. But if they're running in the rain, they got to go swap the tires, put tires with tread on them so they can squeegee that water away. And the grooves on a golf club are the same way. We actually, at the behest of our robot testing facility, we built identical Edison wedges of 54 degrees. One of them, just our production model, grooves, CNC milled to the nth degree of USGA limit. And then we made wedges with a completely smooth face, no grooves at all. And on a dry ball, our wedge with no grooves outspun everybody else's wedge. This is the way you buy it. That's
all right.
amazing.
We need to go away on the radio side, and if you want to see more, we're going to be this is going to be on YouTube as well. But we're going to break away on the radio side because obviously we're due for time on the radio side, but not on the TV side. It's all open, so we could do that on the TV side. All right, more coming your way right here on the radio side after this. EdisonGolf.com is the website. Check it out. If you want to see more, well, head over to YouTube TV during the week, and you'll see it on YouTube TV and Facebook Watch. We'll be right back right after this. All right, back here on the TV side, and we're Terry Kaylor from Edison Golf, and Terry was talking about the grooves and how the grooves acts as the tread on a tire. Terry, we'll turn it right back over to you, and then I want to know about left-handers. Is there gonna be left-handed?
Well, Biggs, what we're gonna do is we'll let him talk about that. We'll let him answer that terrible question about left-handed people that are hitting from the wrong side. And
it's on the right side.
Wrong side. And then we're gonna make a quick announcement because I don't want to go too long on this side because we got a special thing that we're gonna do for our fans and everything. In a short time from now, we're gonna have something really special. So let Terry answer your two questions, then we'll make the announcement and we'll get out of here. Go ahead.
So to answer your left-handed thing, we do get a lot of questions about that, and it's economic decision. We're a small company,
right?
We're self-funded, and you know, to create the production tooling for forgings, to do a complete line, and to buy in the initial inventory. It's a sizable investment that we just can't justify yet to our size. About my history is, 8 to 10% of sales can go to the left-handed community. So until an 8 to 10% boost in sales, can kind of equalize the upfront investment, or John, we could just say, if you'll buy the first set of left-handed wedges for $40,000, then we'll have left-handed wedges at the same price as our right-handed ones. How about that?
Can you engrave them? You might have a deal.
We'll even gold plate them for you, special one-off, one-of-a-kind thing. But reality is it's about $40,000 to $50,000 to be in position to sell the first left-handed wedge. And we're a small company, and that's just not in the cards right now. My hope is by next year we can be there. So we'll make sure you get one of the first sets. How's that?
There you go.
See that? One of the first sets. Don't give him number one. Give him number three.
If you have any left-handed golfers out there that want to be an investor and support the whole left-handed community, we certainly could talk about that. We could give them a royalty.
We should do a GoFundMe.
There you go. Yeah.
We should do a GoFundMe for left-hand golfers.
I mean, there's got to be a wealthy left-handed guy out there somewhere that says, "Hey,
there is somebody wealthy out there."
So I'll advance you the money to do it. No, we're not. But we were making some wedges, John, and it'd probably be easier for you to just go learn to play the game right-handed, and Bill could teach you on sure.
Yeah.
You know what the messed up part is, Terry? He's right-handed.
Yeah.
He's not left-handed. He's right-handed who golfs left-handed.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people to do that. And there's been a number of people, and there's one guy at our club that plays right-handed, putts left-handed. And I'm trying to remember, there was a PGA Tour player that played that way for quite some time. So you have to do what works for you. But one of the things I'd like to add about the wedge fit process that we have, when you take wedge fit, kind of what we're going to reward you with, for lack of a better term, is I created a 7-part series I call Wedgeology 101. It's what I've learned in 30 years of studying wedges about sole and bounce and grinds, about face texture and grooves, about weight distribution, about shafts, about selecting wedges. And, we're a big believer. I'm a big believer that the only way to buy a wedge is to take that wedge to your golf course and play 3 or 4 or 5, 6 rounds with it. That's the only way you'll know whether that wedge is going to do what you need it to do. You're going to see the differences. And, which is why we have a performance guarantee. You buy your first Edison wedge, you go keep it for a month, you go play 3 or 4 or 5 rounds with it. The ball comes off of it a little different. You're going to have a little learning curve to go through, but you're going to be very happy with it. And if you're not, we'll buy it back from you. I mean, it's really that simple. I don't want anybody with an Edison wedge in their bag that doesn't, believe they made a great decision. So, it's the boldest guarantee in the business. But I believe in it. And, I'll warn you, we don't get very many back. So, when you put that in the bag for 3 or 4 rounds, I think, Bill, you've already seen, you're going to see some shots that going, wow, I got away with that one. And that really is what hybrids are about. That's what big drivers, cavity back irons, they're about getting away with shots that aren't just quite right, but they're pretty good. And we're gonna make that shot better.
And I agree. So I know, Biggs, you wanted him to finish about the testing with the club that was the face that was pure, and then you had the grooves, and that's what we got cut off on the end. You were doing the robot testing.
I don't know if he had more to say.
Do you have any more details about that?
The point I was going to make is that the golf club head is designed to produce spin and low launch. And then you add grooves, just like they don't design the tread before they design the tire. We designed the tire and we put some tread on it, but the club head is designed to launch lower with more spin because we've got mass high in the golf club. It's kind of the opposite of the way drivers are designed. Drivers are designed with all the weight in the bottom to launch high with minimal spin. Well, when you look at your wedges, your tour design wedges, all the weight's in the bottom, it's going to launch high with minimal spin, which is opposite of what we're really looking for with wedges. So now, when you interject moisture, that smooth face wedge is not going to work at all. I mean, the ball goes all over the place, which is why we put grooves. But people kind of have a misunderstanding that grooves are where spin comes from. Grooves are what enhances spin. It doesn't create spin. So,
and that is a big misconception. So we're going to cut it off there, Biggs, because I spoke with Mr. Terry, and what we're going to do is something special, which we spoke about earlier. In the very near future, we're going to do a live event. We're going to go live. We're going to do a live Facebook and YouTube event, and we're going to have Mr. Terry on, and he's going to talk more about wedges, more about the fitting, more about the history, what he has going on. Because he's a big podcaster as well. he is the wedge guy, and there's a lot of information. And I do want to pick your brain a little bit later on in the future about putters and stuff like that, and see where you're going in that aspect. If maybe you might go back into it, what's going on. But we're going to do a live show, and that's what we're going to wait for. And when we do that live show, we're going to pick one listener to win.
That's listening during the show.
Yeah, during the show. I don't know if Terry's up for it, but maybe even Terry will talk to you and go through it. I know it's a normal thing. We'll have you go through the fitting. You'll get your phone call. You'll talk about what you do. And then they're going to send you out a nice, beautiful Edison wedge so you can go out and start shooting those darts like me. Not like him because we don't have lefty. So we got to switch them. But yeah, we're going to do that. So that's where I you do know my son's a professional sign language guy. Don't make me go get him. So yeah. So, but yeah, I think it's really neat. I think it was very generous of Terry to agree to do that. And there's so much information, as we can see, that time fly. We did 50. I think you're the longest running guest we've ever had, Terry. And we still haven't scratched the surface. There's so much. I want to learn more about what you have, the series that you have, and everything that you're doing, and what your future plans are. So we're going to leave that for that live show that we have coming on, folks.
Okay. There you go. Hey,
Sounds
Terry.
great. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much for joining us here, and look forward to that live show. And some lucky winner, some lucky listener will win themselves an Edison wedge and go through the process themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's certainly a great value for those that are listening. So stay tuned for that, because we'll announce that on social media when that will happen. So you will have prior notice to when that will happen, and you can put it on your calendar. Other than that, I want you to go check out edisongolf.com and check out the technology. I mean, a lot of information on there. Go through the process and, get yourself an Edison wedge. I always said the short game is where you're going to cut strokes down on your score. And I certainly believe that. And Edison Golf is certainly there to help you do that, except for if you're a left-handed golfer. But if you have $40K and you want to invest and help us all left-handed golfers, talk to Terry. He'll be more than happy to help you out and get that going. All right, Terry, thank you so much, my friend. I'm looking forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, guys, and have a great day, and look forward to that live event on Facebook. We'll have a big time.
Yes,
enjoy your fishing.
If you get to go.
All right, we'll be right back right after this.